Welcome back to another episode of Two Average Husbands, where a couple of husbands have 4 beers and have 4 conversations. I'm your host, Jake.
I'm your host, Kyle. What a weird transition. You usually kind of close that one out a little bit and say something else. I don't like that one, Jake. That one needs work.
Okay,
like
well, you know what? It's all practice, Kyle. Everything that we do is practice on this episode.
Everything that we do is live, so everybody can judge us for our failures. But anyway, I am your host,
still
Kyle.
Practice.
Jake gets to introduce the NFL topic of the week, but before we do that, Jake, tell us about what you're drinking this week.
So my first beer today is from Lil Beaver Brewery, and it is their Mango Key Lime Pie Sour.
Gross.
It sounds delicious, so get out of here.
I kind of wish that I like sours because they do have a lot of really good flavors, I feel like, or at least like concepts for flavors. I just don't like sours at all.
There's some sours that I think that we've had that I think you would like because they don't really have as much of that like sour note. It's there, but it's more of just kind of like an alcoholic slushy, for lack of a better term. Like, it's just super, like, one of them that I bought, which I'll have at some point, I've sampled it before, and it's very, very sweet. It's not as much of a sour. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I'd have to give it a shot. I don't know. I've had a couple sours, and I have been zero impressed by either of them. But that's fine. It's not for everybody, I'm sure. Anyway, my first beer for the week is going to be the Jacko Latte, coming at you from O'Fallon Brewery. It is a pumpkin coffee stout, so getting into the Halloween-y season and trying to test this out a little bit.
We'll have to see if that's as good as I thought the one was last week. Edgar did say that he's gonna hook me up with a little bit more, so I'll try and get some of those out to you.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the logistics of getting them here, but I would definitely like to try some of those.
We'll make it happen. Anyways, yes, like Kyle said, I do get to introduce the NFL topic of the week. So Kyle, obviously, first week of the NFL season has now happened, and we are into our second week with the matchup that we had last night. I want to know, who are 2 teams that you think have really shocked people, either for good or for bad, so far in this season? Because I know who has really shocked me. One really hasn't shocked me because I kind of made this prediction a couple places prior to the season. But who are 2 teams that have really shocked you with their performance so far?
Arizona, Buffalo.
That was easy.
Arizona, there was a lot of, I think, so I listened to a podcast, Fantasy Footballers. I talk about it, or I have talked about it a couple times. And they're Arizona fans from Arizona. They have their podcast up in Phoenix, and they talked shit about Arizona all preseason and all offseason and all during camp. They're like, Arizona doesn't look good. They look bad in the preseason. I don't think they're going to be good. And they're Arizona fans, and they're talking shit about it, right? And so watching that first game from Arizona, and you see Chandler Jones just fucking eating. I can't remember exactly how many sacks he
5.
had, but yeah, that's like that.
Basically a season's worth of sacks for a lot of players in one game.
It was incredible, and so the defense looked fantastic. The offense connected really well. They looked good. Kyler looked great, and then you saw some great catches from DeAndre Hopkins still, and then you got Rondale Moore out there, who didn't really do too much, but he still looked pretty good given what you got from the rookie there. And AJ Green didn't really do much either, but again, he's just a weapon. That's a possibility for them to go to. So, and honestly, the run game wasn't that bad either. I think we saw a decent run game from them, even though the primary running back right now is Kyler Murray. But with that being said, they still look way better than I think they were given credit for, and not only just by the one podcast that I listened to, but a lot of people were kind of down on Arizona coming into this year.
Yep.
And they impressed big time. And then quite on the opposite side of the coin, you saw Buffalo come out and just look like dog shit. And it was the exact opposite hype, right? Josh Allen's coming back. He's going to fucking go ham again.
Especially after the preseason ending he had where he was going off.
Yep. And Stephon Diggs, he's going to be great and all these things. And then it was just bad. They looked bad. And if it wasn't for the cleanup that they had, garbage time really for them in the second half, from a fantasy perspective, it would have been so bad for the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs owners. And it still wasn't great, but it was better than it looked like it was going to be in the first half.
Yeah, both of those teams. When it comes to teams performing in week one is kind of the one time where I will give teams a little bit of slack, just because these teams have known each other's schedule for 6 months. Mm-hmm. So they can prepare for this matchup more so than any other matchup in the year. So I don't try and hold too much water, but there are certain things that I do like to see and things that I don't like to see. And one team that really surprised me for the better has actually been the Giants. I really
Jesus Christ.
hear me out here. Hear me. Okay, yes, but hear me out here. The Giants are like, call it two stars on defense and one offensive lineman away from being like a legitimate team. Like now that you have
If the defense is
Saquon,
going to carry the whole team, then yeah, sure.
what's the offense done that's so bad?
Danny Jones looked like shit in week 1. He just played his week 2 matchup, and he looked way better. No doubt.
He looked fine in week 1.
I think he looked like shit.
He was like the fantasy quarterback 7.
I don't care what he was on the fucking stat table at the end. If you watched him play, he looked bad. Daniel Jones did not look good in that game.
The fucking whole offense looked bad. None of the wide receivers decided they were going to get open. And you got to realize this too. Denver is probably right now the best defense in football, in my opinion.
I don't agree, but that's fine.
Well, you're wrong. But one of probably the top 4 or 5 defenses in football. So, and it's your first game with Saquon back, so you're working him slowly back into the picture here. Yep. You know, you're testing out what you have with some players. Clearly, they wasted a first-round pick on Kadarius Toney.
Yep.
I have more NFL receiving yards this year. Galladay's a different story. I think Galladay will be fine. I think it's clear that he's not 100% healthy right now. Like I can see that he's not Kenny Galladay of old, but Kenny Galladay of old also is he's a jump ball specialist. Like he's a contested catch guy. But regardless, I think that team looks a lot more complete than a lot of people expected. I think people expected the Giants to be a team that barely breaks like 10 points a week. And I think they've shown Sterling Shepard finally is hitting his breakout.
But yeah, right. Finally is about right, because you talk about Sterling Shepard and how people have been high on Sterling Shepard up and down over the last several years, and he's just like always disappointed and been outshone by somebody else, whether it be the running game and Saquon Barkley coming into the league, or one of the other receivers really stepping up, and Slayton having some few games back then too. But he looks good this year. He's getting the looks from Daniel Jones, and it is a highlight on a pretty bad team, in my opinion.
Again, bad is subjective. I think my point is this team is a lot closer than people want to give them credit for. And you're kind of proving my point there. Like this team, they didn't make, like, their coaching is bad. Their coaching is terrible for just there's no way around that.
Jason Garrett. You're welcome.
I don't even think it's Jason Garrett. It's Joe Judge, and the defensive coach is just
the curse of Jason Garrett. I don't think Jason Garrett is a bad coach. I think
I don't
he's
either.
Cursed wherever he goes.
Nice
shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Shout out to the meeting room in Arizona.
Shout out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a curse more as much as you do, but it's clear to me that this I tweeted it last night. Like this Giants team is a couple players away.
That's okay. I value your opinion as a sports analyst, and I think that you could be more right than I am. Honestly, I don't like the way that they've looked. But here's one thing, right? Is as a fantasy player, if you guys in your leagues can do it, get out there and fucking pick up Saquon Barkley. Make the trade for him. You can try to buy low, depending on like the actual level of intelligence in your leagues. Like if it's like some hometown friends that aren't really into the NFL that much, go out there and get Saquon Barkley and try to get him on like this downward slope, because he's probably 1 or 2 games away from getting back to the way he was, and then ramping back up his reps and getting him back out on the field in a more consistent and deliberate way. So get out there and get Saquon. And then honestly, like if somebody's trading him, I'd probably take Sterling Shepard this year too in a trade for a redraft.
Bro, I've been trying to get Shepard everywhere. The owners aren't managers. I should say. I'm trying to stop saying owners. I feel like we don't own players, but that's a different story.
You don't manage them either.
We manage our lineups. Anyways, yeah, Shepard managers aren't budging whatsoever. Saquon, I don't know. I'm not liking what I'm seeing so far. Like me
neither. But that doesn't mean I'm not going out there and trying to get him. I'm not trading like my number 1 running back for Saquon Barkley. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to buy low on Saquon right now.
Here's why I'm personally recommending against that. I don't think now's the time. You're going to get a good matchup in week 3 versus the Falcons, but then you get the Saints, the Cowboys, who we can both admit looked much improved. The Rams, the Panthers, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Buccaneers. Like, it's not until week like 10, 11 against like the Eagles. And then even then you get like Dolphins, Chargers. Like, there's nowhere where it looks like there's a good matchup where Saquon can really have his breakout game and sustain it. And their offensive philosophy as a whole, they're not checking down to the running back like they have in the past. They're not using the run to set up some other things like they have in the past. Like, Daniel Jones is their leading rusher, and he looked Lamar-esque. Like, he was just...
I hate that, but I do think
it's true. We're talking about a guy who was a bogus holding call away from being at like 170 rushing yards on the year and 3 rushing touchdowns. Like, the man looks good so far.
Back to that fucking run that he had last year where he just like
ate shit.
His
turf
whole body
monster
just died.
Turf
fell
monster.
Face first into the turf.
Hey, we saw a bunch of turf monsters this week on both sides of the ball. But that's all I'm going to say is I think the Giants have just looked a lot better to me than I even expected them to look. I thought they were going to be like an embarrassment to football, and they're
Texans.
not. The Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they just haven't shown that yet for me. The second team that has really surprised me so far, this one's for the worse, I'll say. And I'm curious to see how they bounce back week 2. The Packers looked fucking terrible.
Yes.
Like, there was not...
I think they do bounce back week 2, though.
I do too, but I think there's not a worse NFL performance that I have ever seen. Like, nothing on that team worked.
Sure.
Nothing looked good. You're talking about a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're talking about a top 7 or 8 running back in football, a top 2 wide receiver in football. Like, we're talking about such elite components. And we're talking about a Green Bay defense who was coming into the year thinking probably that they were going to be pretty all right. I consider them to be probably a top 12 defense coming into the year. And they give up 5 touchdowns on 140 passing yards to Jameis Winston. Like,
buy low on everybody on the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, if you can find an owner who's willing to sell, manager who's willing to sell after week 1, definitely do it.
Dude, there's a part of me that actually just hopes Green Bay falls apart this week too.
Yeah,
and they just look like dog shit, and then you can really buy low on everybody. Get those people that are going to abandon them when they see 2 inconsistent performances from that tier of player. Holy shit, man! Because there's no way they play like this all year long. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no way, and I would definitely agree. You know, I think once managers get to 0-2, that's when they start to get real nervous. So, but yeah, Green Bay just looked really bad. As a Bears fan, that's promising. Hopefully, we can get Justin Fields in here. You know, hopefully, worst case scenario, everybody in our division loses this week because the Lions are trash.
Yes, they are.
Their fantasy players, I think, are going to surprise a little bit, like, especially Jared Goff. I've been trying to get him in a couple places. Hawk too. Swift is going to do. Swift is going to do well. But the Vikings have a bunch of injuries. They just had a bunch of players on both sides of the ball that they put on the injured reserve. Everson Griffin's in the concussion protocol after a car accident. Like, the Vikings are going to be bad. Worst case scenario, there's a non-zero chance that like every team in our division is 0-2 after this week.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I think you have to start Justin Fields week 3.
Sure.
If every team is 0-2, you have to start it that way.
I just tried to make a trade in my work redraft league yesterday for Justin Fields, and the guy didn't respond. But he also just had a baby yesterday.
Congrats to him.
Shout out to him. Congrats to you. Have fun with your new baby. That being said, make the trade with me. Give me Justin Fields. Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. All right. Well, that's all I had for the NFL topic. Don't want to get too into it.
No, that's good.
Kyle and I will both occasionally be on a podcast, a different podcast. So make sure you go check that out. It is @PersonnelPod on Twitter, and just make sure you give us a follow and tune in there. We're trying to go live before the Sunday slate start, and we'll probably start doing some weekly recaps and look forwards as well. So make sure you check that out. I'll put the info in the description on that so you can head over and give that a follow. But Kyle, what is our first real topic for the week?
Before I go to that, I just have to address the one other thing that we threw out there on Twitter, but we haven't really talked about on the podcast yet, which is also in our link tree now. So check out the link tree again. Follow us on the social media, but also we added the Discord channel too. So during the course of our regular broadcast of podcasts, there is a segment of our Discord channel where you can get in there. And speaking of, I need to be in that right now. But you can be in the Discord channel and you can be chatting with us live while we're in the podcast. But the more important aspect of that, at least for right now, is that we designed that so that we can hop on to the Discord channel and we can be there to talk to everybody while we are watching football. So if you guys want to come and watch football with us and interact with us during the podcast, absolutely hop in there. Jake and I, at least for the Sunday games, are going to try to be in there to the max extent possible. It's going to be a little bit harder for us on the Monday, Thursday games, but the Sunday for sure, we're going to try to be in the Discord channel during the games and talking with all of you guys as well. So hop on in there, talk to us, have some fun with us during the games as well.
Yeah, I'm in there pretty consistently. I was in there pretty much the entire time for the Monday game. So yeah, definitely stop by, hang out with us. But we look forward to that. We look forward to talking to you guys, and we're eventually. I'm working on getting my proper stream set up for live streaming on Twitch to play video games. So maybe we'll use that for the opportunity to play some games with us in the future as well.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, rolling into our first topic, and I just sent Jake the link on Twitter, so he's probably pulling it up or has already looked at this. But the first topic this week, courtesy of Carly, throwing this out there as a suggestion, is ranking snacks. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different snack foods, throw them on the tier list, and get some breakouts here for you guys on what we think are the best go-to snack foods.
Do you want me to share screen here so we can see the tier list? All right.
Screen.
Sounds good. Let me pull
and then we
this
can build
up
this
real quick.
together.
Chrome tab. There we go. All right.
So obviously this won't be all inclusive, but there is a good chunk of snack foods here that'll give us some stuff to go on, so we can rate these S through F, and then you have the additional trash can category, so that we can throw some down there too if we think they're absolutely disgusting snack foods.
All right. So do you want to just start right from the beginning?
Yes, I do want to start right from the beginning, and the first snack on the snack list is animal crackers. It is specifically the ones that are like the zoo, the cardboard box with the zoo animals.
Barnum and Bailey's zoo.
Barnum and Bailey's, yes, okay.
Yeah. This is like
easily in those areas that you're pointing to right now, which he is cycling through the DNF categories.
Yeah.
And I would have to agree, animal crackers are not exciting unless you're like 5 years old and want to look at animals on cookies that don't taste very good.
Yeah, maybe it's cheating, but like looking at the rest of this list, like this is F for me, and it's probably gonna work its way down to near the bottom. Like it's I'm not like, no, you couldn't.
It is not high
Hear me
on
out.
the categories here.
Animal crackers themselves are terrible. If you get like the yogurt or chocolate covered ones, those
Yes.
are pretty solid.
The yogurt ones are good for sure.
So
Sprinkle and yogurt.
I'm definitely comfortable with that there. These are barbecue chips, specifically like the kettle fried chips.
Yeah, the Kettle brand, Kettle cooked
Yep.
barbecue chips.
Where are you putting these, Kyle?
I'd give Kettle. The interesting thing is that there's a couple different flavors here, so I think Kettle cooked barbecue is a D to me.
A B?
D.
D? Ooh.
I think there are some kettle cooked chips that are delicious and significantly higher than that, but because this is barbecue specifically, I don't love barbecue kettle chips.
I think I have to argue it up to C because it would probably be B tier for me. So I think we stick.
Yeah,
I think we
sure.
stick to the middle ground there.
Sure.
All right, Bugles.
I actually pretty low key like Bugles.
I do too.
I remember as a kid, you put them on your fucking fingertips
Fingers,
and play around with them, and they're not bad. But again, to kind of looking ahead on the snack list, there's no way that I could give these a very high rating, but I do think they're better than Kettle barbecue chips, so I'd say the top of the C category.
I would agree. Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable there. I personally would prefer the barbecue kettle chips, but I'm also just a barbecue chip like fiend.
I like barbecue chips, and I guess I liked them more so when I was younger, but I like barbecue. I just don't like the kettle version of barbecue.
They're not here, so they're not on this list, so I can't. I can say this: if the barbecue Fritos were on here, they would absolutely be an S tier chip.
Shout out to our homie Dane, but that man can crush some baked barbecue Lays. So if it was baked barbecue chips, I would have to say that I would put those higher on the tier list too. And if
I would agree,
that would probably be an S category for him.
Yeah, I can't disagree there. Moving on, just because we do have quite a few here.
Yes, you do.
Cheddar Chex Mix.
Cheddar Chex Mix is delicious. The one thing that sucks in Cheddar Chex Mix is the stupid fucking triangle orange crackers that I don't even know why they put in there because they don't actually have any flavor. Everything else in there, delicious. B category, easy for me.
I probably haven't had these in 10 years, so I'll roll with you.
You need to get out there and get you some Cheddar Chex Mix, Jake.
I don't feel like I have to.
I love Chex Mix.
I feel like there's better cheesy options for me.
Okay.
Which combos are these? Are these just like the cheddar cheese combos?
I can't tell if that's the cheddar cheese regular or if that's the pretzel version.
I think it's the pretzel
Because that
I see
matters.
another.
Because
I
the
see
cheddar
another-
cheese original is trash,
Hold
but
on.
cheddar cheese pretzels delicious.
Cheddar cheese pretzel combo.
I wonder if I can.
I need to see the
zoom in.
bag.
Oh, it's pretzels. It's pretzels.
Yeah,
I
it's,
can see
it's
the
the
bag.
yeah, it's the pretzels. Yep. Okay. The pretzel ones I think are top of C. They're not my favorite combos, and my favorite combos are on this list. I'll put them top of C, and
Okay. All right.
I don't think you could talk me higher.
Okay, but the problem is I don't like your favorite combos now that I see what the other one is.
God
So,
damn it.
I think the cheddar pretzel ones are better than the other ones, but that's okay. I'll accept top of C category.
Bottom of B.
Fair enough.
Okay. Utz's cheese balls.
Trash.
Yeah.
I fucking hate cheese
I'm
balls.
putting them. I will put them above animal crackers though. I'd rather get drunk and eat a bunch of cheese balls than animal crackers.
I think cheese balls are of the cheese snacks, like you were saying. Like there's better cheesy snacks out there than cheesy Chex Mix. Cheese balls, not it. Cheese balls
Yeah.
are trash. I hate cheese balls. I
I-
used to have the
I would
friends that
agree.
have like that giant ass gallon jug that is pictured in this image, like at their house. And they're like, "Oh, you want some cheese balls?" I'm like, no, I don't want any fucking cheese balls. Get that shit out of here. And they cut the fucking shit out of the roof of your mouth too, because they're like,
Yeah,
super
oh yeah.
rough. I hate them.
We had like 4 tubs of these at the softball tournament that we won last week, and it was they a couple people attributed them to our victory, even though I think one person ate them the entire time.
Gross.
Moving on, your standard Cheetos.
That is crunchy though.
Yeah, that's standard Cheetos, aren't they?
No, the OG is Puffs, I believe.
No, you're wrong.
I don't think that I am.
You're 1,000% wrong.
Am I wrong?
You are
Which came first, the Puff or the Crunch?
Cheetos. I'm just googling Cheetos.
Just Googling Cheetos probably isn't going to give you an answer to that question.
Okay, hold on. It will. Give me a second here.
In the meantime, while you're hunting that down, I think crunchy Cheetos are probably
Which Cheeto came first?
bottom of C category to me.
The first Cheetos product was Crunchy Cheetos.
All right, fine, fuck off. Carly supported you and already answered that you were right too.
What did you say? Bottom C?
That's what I think. Yeah,
I don't.
I think
Given
within
the-
that category, I would probably put Bugles below crunchy Cheetos. But I also don't like barbecue chips, and you do, so I would understand if you wanted to argue that barbecue kettle chips are above the Bugles. But either way, crunchy Cheetos is somewhere in the C category to me.
I'll put Cheetos at the top because I would put Kettle at the top. The Kettle chips at the top of C. You'd put Bugles at the top of
This
C.
way.
So I think we compromise and just put Cheetos up there.
This way, cat.
Kitty cat.
Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right. All right. Original Cheez-Its.
I think Cheez-Its are good if you get the ones that are like really cooked, like borderline burnt, which they actually
Yeah.
sell boxes of just that now.
Do they?
Like the overcooked Cheez-Its,
Oh shit! I'm gonna get fat again.
delicious.
All right.
B, bottom B.
Yeah, I'll agree there. No real argument there. Traditional Chex Mix.
Delicious, not as good as cheddar.
Would you put them above everything in C?
Everything except for Cheetos.
Perfect. I can agree with that.
And here's where we have to fight.
Yes, and it is the pizza combos.
I think pizza combos are disgusting.
I love them.
The artificial, like, whatever they make to think that it's a pizza flavor is grosses me
It's
out.
it's like weird like tomato powder.
Yes. I hate pizza combos.
Oh,
I would
man.
still put them above everything in the F category for sure. But I guarantee you're not going to let me put them in the D category.
I would put them bottom of B.
So you do think that the cheese pretzel combos are better?
Well, I know you won't let me put it above the cheese pretzel one, so I can't. I would put it at the top of B.
Ugh.
This would be the
I will-
best.
okay.
if
Bottom
I'm-
B is the best I will let you have if you're really going to push for that.
Thank you. You got to remember I don't snack much anymore.
Snacks. I'm trying
don't-
to cut down on my snacking. It's not working. I'm a
So
snack.
my brain is going to like road trip snacks, and I always go for pretzel combos. Those are like, or not the
You mean
pretzel combos,
pizza?
the pizza combos. Yeah, like that's always
Pretzel
a
combos are
go-to for me.
delicious. Yeah, it's a good road snack. Actually,
right.
one of my favorite snacks on the road is on this list as well. Not the right flavor, but it doesn't matter.
Your wife agrees with me that pizza combos are good.
Blech.
Anyways, Cool Ranch Doritos.
S.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
You,
Cool Ranch,
yeah,
so good.
you weren't going to get any argument from me there. Corn
This
nuts.
is my favorite road snack. Not the OG ones, though. I like the barbecue corn nuts.
Same.
So, like, the original is probably somewhere in the C category to me.
Do they have the other flavors though?
I don't think so.
I'd be willing to do this as all corn nuts and put this A category.
Okay, I'll take that. Love corn
All right.
nuts. Delicious. From the Midwest, if you don't love everything corn, you're wrong.
I don't like corn, but I do
Go
like
away.
corn nuts. Anyways, Cosmic Brownies. This is
This is like an OG kid favorite of mine, but now not so much. As an adult, I don't love the Cosmic Brownies nearly as much as I used to.
I like Cosmic Brownies. My problem with them is I swear like every time I get them they taste more and more fake.
Yeah, it's just like artificial flavoring to the max extent possible.
I would probably
Maybe even D, frankly, but probably C. That's more realistic.
yeah. I'm going to put
Given
put-
the weird thing is like if you just told me, do you like Cosmic Brownies? I'd be like, yeah, I do.
yeah.
But when you're comparing them to all these other snacks, they're not as good for sure.
Yeah. I feel like it's such a weird like that being the first like really sweet thing.
Yeah.
Like I think that I almost feel like we need to do two of these, one just like the savory snacks and one the sweet snacks, because I feel like it should rank higher purely off of nostalgia, but I get why we have to rank it where we do. Next up is French onion sun chips.
D.
Yeah, I like
So-
French onion. I don't like French onion sun chips.
The original Sun Chips to me are better than the French onion ones. Like they threw some flavor in there, and I think it just like didn't make it better. That being said, love Sun Chips, love other flavors of Sun Chip, and there are others on this list, so that one can easily go into the D category for me.
Yeah, no argument for me. Not all we have to say there. Original Fritos.
D.
Yeah, if we were again
Maybe F.
if we were gonna make the argument that this was like all inclusive of every Frito, then I would put it at S, just off of the barbecue Fritos.
Nah, dude.
But-
I'm gonna run with original here, and it is a D.
Yeah, I would eat them over,
So
French-
yeah,
French-
100%. Yeah.
especially because like worst case you make like Frito pie.
I don't really like Fritos that much, and I just found out not too long ago that Walking Tacos. You know what a Walking Taco is? I hope.
Yeah, it's a Frito pie, same thing.
Oh God, but it's not. So a Walking Taco is made of Doritos.
I've never.
But I
had
found
that.
out recently that other people make Frito pie or whatever the fuck you want to call it instead, where it's made with Fritos, which I'm like, God, you guys are fucking up because gotta use the Doritos. It tastes so much better. But
I've had versions of these my entire life. Never once has it been Doritos.
you need to have some Doritos. Go to Iowa, get yourself a Walking Taco at like a fucking sporting event of some sort.
I'll think about it. I'll consider it. Welch's fruit snacks.
Not a big fruit snack guy.
I am not Welch's. Welch's are like, I'll put them in D tier
Okay.
because they're better than everything in F tier, and I'm gonna put them again above the French onion sun chips.
I'll rely on you for that one.
I'm gonna be real close to putting these French onion sun chips just at the top of F tier.
I told you, man, they're not good.
I'm doing it. I committed it. All right, Funyuns.
S.
Yeah.
Love me some Funyuns.
Yep, agreed. No questions asked. All right, original goldfish crackers.
I don't know how you feel about goldfish, but I still love goldfish, even as an adult. I don't like go out of my way to buy them anymore, but
Yeah.
if I have them, still love them.
Yeah.
I'd put them towards the top of B tier.
Would you eat goldfish over Cheez-Its? Because I don't think I would.
I don't know that I would either. I guess maybe towards the top of C then.
I'll put it.
I know you love pizza combos, so I'm not trying to throw everything above that.
Yeah, we'll put it at the bottom of B. I think that's
Okay.
fair.
All right.
This which
Harvest
ones are
Cheddar
these?
Sun Chips.
Harvest Cheddar Sun Chips.
Much better than French onion.
The second best Sun Chip, which the best Sun Chip isn't on here, and I'm very
Garden
disappointed
salsa.
in that. Yeah, that would be
Garden
the top
salsa's
of
the
S
best.
tier. That would be that's the greatest chip of all time.
I don't know about the greatest of all time, but definitely delicious.
It's the greatest chip on. It'd have one competitor on this entire list for me.
I'd
but
give Harvest Cheddar the bottom of A tier based on what we have right now.
agreed wholeheartedly. Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I don't know how you feel about these. Definite S tier for me. I love Flaming Hot Cheetos.
I don't know if I can do S tier.
Flaming Hot Cheetos are so good.
Kyle,
Yeah, dude.
our buddy.
I don't have.
We got a
kids,
lot of Kyle.
but I can
First off,
truly appreciate that.
we got a lot of Kyles in this podcast. We probably got 2 Kyles watching. We got 1 on the screen. Kyle party over here. But yeah, Goldfish always do hit the spot. For me, Flamin' Hot Cheetos, maybe it's because I'm a little, I consider myself to be a little more cultured. If I want like a spicy, if I want a spicy chip, I go for like Takis.
I hate Takis.
I love Takis.
And I'll tell you why I hate Takis for something that's like a few down on the list from this. But I'll go. You have to put it in A tier. I won't let you put it lower than A tier.
It's going to be A tier, but I think it's the bottom of A tier right now.
Oh, that's sad.
It's not going to end.
I'll have to accept it.
Looking at the rest of the list, it's not going to end that way. It's not going to end bottom of A tier.
Kind of the hard thing on this too is that most of these are chips, and there's just a few random ones that we throw in here that like kind of aren't like an apple to apple comparison, but that's okay. Because like this next one, right? Like the next we're going to is Jack Link's original beef jerky. Carly got you there.
Just because I eat them plain doesn't mean that I'm not cultured. Thank you very much.
For those that are listening and not watching, Carly commented and said, "You eat your cheeseburgers plain. You're not cultured."
I don't eat them plain. I put cheese on them.
But all right, Jack Link's original beef jerky.
S. Beef jerky is S tier.
Yeah, but Jack Link's original beef jerky?
Yeah.
I think their teriyaki beef jerky's in S category.
Even their original is. I would eat, if I'm grabbing a snack right now, beef jerky is one of my top 5 selections any day of the week.
I love beef jerky. I just don't know that the original Jack Link's is in S tier, but I will let you do it just because I do agree with you that beef jerky's fantastic.
Perfect. Lay's barbecue.
I think Lay's barbecue is significantly better than Kettle Brand barbecue. That being said, I'd put it towards the end of B tier with what we have right now.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it right at the end of B and not really have too many qualms.
I actually like the next chip better, which is Lay's sour cream and onion.
Really?
I do personally, but I know that you're much more of a barbecue chip guy than I am.
I do like sour cream and onion though.
Here's the thing though, is I would definitely put this above everything in C category right now. So I would put that at the top of C.
Yeah, I can agree with that if it would let me put it in front of Cheetos. All right, hint of lime Tostitos.
This is why I hate Takis, and I think this belongs in the fucking trash can. Chips that use artificial lime flavor need to just all be ended. End the supply chain for everything with artificial lime flavoring in it from a chip perspective. Because I think it tastes so disgustingly fucking lab generated. It doesn't taste like lime to me. It just tastes like I'm eating a mouthful of crunchy chemicals. And Takis has a shitload of their flavors that have the addition of artificial lime. So get that shit out of here. Put it in F category.
I'm gonna put it at the top of F, just to spite you. Just to spite you a little bit. What's
That's
wrong with
fine.
the little malic acid, Kyle?
It's so bad. The artificial lime flavor is disgusting.
It's fine. Anyways, yeah, sour cream chips do slap, Uncle Kyle. You are definitely right there.
True.
Nutty bars.
S. Easily. That is so easy an S for me. And if you knew my snack habits better, like this is my OG snack food since I was a child. Other than popcorn, Nutty Bars follows me longer in life than anything else. I have loved Nutty Bars for my entire life.
I did grow up on Nutty Bars. Did you also grow up on like the other, like the wafers, like the vanilla chocolate strawberry wafers?
Yep.
Yeah, those were also
those are pretty good too.
amazing.
Nutty Bars.
Hold on. I'm just remembering now that we have a trash can category.
Yes. That's yes, and yes to all of those.
I just clicked in my head.
So he put Sun Chips, the sour cream and onion, or it's not sour cream, is it just French
onion?
French onion, Sun Chips, cheese balls, and animal crackers back into the trash can where they belong.
Yeah, Kyle would argue that those hint of lime chips would be there too, but I'm going to disagree just because I can.
OG Doritos up next, probably an A category to me because they don't belong in the S with Cool Ranch. They're not as good, but they are delicious.
Yeah, I would put them at bottom of A. I think that's going to be like the gatekeeper from now on. I feel like if it's something that I would pick over nacho cheese Doritos, I think that's what's going to make it an A category for me now.
Agreed. Yeah.
Classic Lay's.
if it wasn't for the fact that everything in the trash can is so disgusting, I would put trash can original Lay's in the trash can, but they're probably an F category to me.
I'm going to put them above the hint of lime chips because I would rather just eat regular Lay's than those hint of lime chips.
Yeah, that's true. Me too.
Pringles original.
Pringles original are disgusting.
Yes.
I think so. Here's the weird thing: is as an adult now, like as a kid, I used to love getting tubes of Pringles. I thought that was cool, and I like loved having those chips. And it's like this unique, original idea to put them in a random tube. That's why I used to love to get the potatoes. Not was it potato skins? Or
Potato skin.
Strings. Potato strings.
Oh, we're talking
Potato
about different
strings.
things, but
Like the crunchy little strips of potato. You know what I'm talking about? You get like it was literally just like a potato chip broken into like long strings.
no, I don't think
You
I
never
ever
had
had
potatoes.
those.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No.
They put them in a tube as well, and I used to love those two. But Pringles now, as an adult, if you open a thing of Pringles and eat one, the amount of fucking grease that is in a single chip makes me want to throw up. It's like there is a greasy texture in your mouth with a chip, and that should not happen.
It's not even the grease for me. It's just the fact that it's just like a shitty chip.
They're
Like
not
it's just
good.
not low quality at best.
Perfect, right in the trash can.
Ruffles Originals.
Better than everything that we have in F category.
I was going to argue that this goes at the top of D simply because this is the best dipping chip, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Yep, agreed, 100%.
That dip that you made when we were down there,
Yeah, dude.
I bought the ingredients.
Yeah,
I haven't made it yet, but I
Shout out to
plan
Carly too, and I think she's listening because she found the dupe for me because I'm from Iowa and Anderson Erickson is a thing in Iowa. Anderson Erickson French onion dip is the goat. She found a dupe, makes it for me all the time now, and it keeps me fat and happy because it is delicious and tastes just like Anderson Erickson.
It is very good. I can vouch. What are these wasabi peas?
That is
Are
just
these
jumbo
peanut?
peanuts. Jumbo salted peanuts. F.
Yeah, that at a baseball game, sure. And if you're eating like shelled peanuts in your home, you're a psychopath.
You are a fucking
You're
psychopath.
insane.
If you're not at Texas Roadhouse or a baseball game, you're nuts.
Yeah, it's
And I don't know, Texas Roadhouse doesn't even do it anymore.
no. Do they? I think they do. Maybe not now with COVID,
I don't know. They don't do them where
But-
I'm at. So
but I think prior to COVID they did them. But yeah, Lone Star, like all of those like wannabe Southern steakhouses used to, and it was cool, but it's also just like meh.
yeah,
Next up are Stacy's Pita Thins.
I actually love these.
I don't think I've ever had them.
But here's the thing: I have to judge them out like independent of dips. And if it's not in a dip, then it is not good to me. Like that could easily be bottom to mid D tier. Definitely better than things in F. But like so, pita chips, hummus, and I mean, I guess honestly, hummus is the primary for me. But pita chips and hummus are delicious. So I think pita chips are good. They just aren't flavorful on their own. They're usually pretty plain. So I'd leave that there.
I think the only ones of these Stacy's Pita Chips that they've had, did they do a version of these that were like cinnamon sugar? Like sweet?
Maybe. I don't know. I've only ever gotten like the original ones because I like to eat them with hummus. But as Carly affectionately has posted, that I don't ever finish them, probably because they're not that good, and they're definitely not good on their own, which is why they're in the D category. They are not independently good.
Makes sense to me. No arguments here. All right,
I
Kyle.
think I have a half bag of pita chips in my cabinet right now.
Here's another contentious
Pizza
candidate for you.
goldfish, trash.
Wow.
I hate artificial pizza. Give me a goddamn pizza. I'm gonna go eat some fucking pizza. I don't want your artificial pizza flavoring. Get the fuck out of here.
I'll put it top of F because I'd still eat those over regular Lay's.
Well, good, because the next one is pizza Pringles.
Pizza
Even more
Pringles.
shit.
This
Get
is the
fuck
worst.
outta
This
here.
is the worst thing on the list so far. They're so bad. Anytime regular Pringles are bad, flavored Pringles make me want to vomit.
Dude, the Pringles suck. Pringles are trash.
Yeah.
They belong completely in the trash can.
White cheddar popcorn.
Delicious. Smart Pop was not a thing in my life until I met Carly. She started buying this stuff, and I never like touched it. And then eventually, I was like, I'm gonna try some of this. Love the shit.
I'm gonna
Definitely
put
in
it
the B.
top of B tier.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
think that beats out everything in B tier for
So
me.
good.
Pretzels.
I'm a big pretzel bitch.
Huge
I love
pretzel
rolled
guy.
gold pretzels. In the A category, maybe, but like you said, categorically, is it better than Doritos? No, it's not. Probably a B tier.
I think because B's so deep right now, I want to make pretzels the gatekeeper to A instead of Doritos.
I'll take that.
Cheetos Puffs.
Nope. No, thank you. D.
Really, these are like my preferred Cheetos. I'll comfortably put them in D, and I'll put them above regular Fritos, because I'm the one with the mouse, and I get to do that.
In my life, I would never purchase puffed Cheetos. The only reason I eat them sometimes is because Carly buys them. I would take crunchy Cheetos over puffy Cheetos every day of the week.
I gotta stick with the Puffs, man. Raisins.
Trash.
Yeah.
Raisins are a trash snack. Unless you are a child and your parents are giving you raisins and you're like, oh, these aren't so bad. Raisins are fucking gross.
Carly's right. Puff gang out here. But yeah, the only way I even like raisins, honestly, is like I like Raisin Bran cereal. We've talked about this before when we did the cereal ranking. You're not a fan, but
I don't like raisins. Fuck raisins.
This is probably going to be the most contentious one, I think.
What,
And that
sunflower
is
seeds?
sunflower seeds.
I love sunflower seeds.
Okay.
This is
Little-
ranch sunflower seeds, which I wouldn't go for, but I think we can be a little more generic here. And I do love sunflower seeds. Taco Bell now has a sunflower seed that's like spicy taco or crunchy taco or some shit like that. 10 out of 10, do recommend.
Had
Actually,
no
not
idea
a 10
that
out of 10.
existed.
Definitely recommend them. Not a 10 out of 10, but they are pretty freaking good. And they actually taste like tacos, which is like grossly intriguing, and they're pretty good.
So where would you?
Nah, I'd put them above Bugles.
Above Bugles? I'll agree with that. I'll say
Yeah.
that's kind of like the middle-ish
Middle
of
yeah.
everything so far. Ritz crackers.
Trash.
Really?
Trash.
Come on.
Bottom
God
of F.
damn it. God
Above
damn it,
peanuts and
Kyle.
above lime. Okay, maybe top of F.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's at least top of F.
Ritz crackers of all snack crackers might be the worst.
I love Ritz. There's like a sweetness to them.
They have like that buttery flavor that they try to get you addicted
Yeah,
to, but I think
I
more
love
times
it.
than not, you get soggy and or like basically stale Ritz, even like when you buy them brand new.
I love soggy Ritz.
That's disgusting.
Like you ever take a
I
bite of a Ritz cracker and then you drink some water, so it like
that makes
it's
me
kinda
want to
mushy?
throw up in my mouth.
well, try
Fuck
it.
that.
It's
That's
delicious.
disgusting.
All right, cheddar cheese ruffles.
Definitely better than the original Ruffles, actually, in my opinion. I would put them somewhere in the C category.
I want to say this is top of C tier for me. I love cheese ruffles.
Yeah, they're good.
I'm
When I was
putting
a
them
kid, I used to eat that shit all the time.
I'm putting them top of C. They're goated for me.
The next
these-
is salt and vinegar kettle, which I think are definitely better than the barbecue kettle. I think of
You're insane.
of kettle chips, I think salt and vinegar might be the best flavor you can get in a kettle chip.
You're wrong. The jalapeno flavor is, but
Jalapeno is the best. I think salt and vinegar is the next on the list. For kettle chips. I like barbecue flavor, but for kettle specifically, salt and vinegar is it.
I hate salt and vinegar with a passion.
Dude,
Mostly
I
just
even
because I
get-
don't like vinegar.
I get salt and vinegar wings now. Delicious.
That sounds disgusting
So
to me.
good. So good.
Okay. These are, I believe, the honey mustard pretzels.
I think so, and I don't like Snyder's pretzels in general. Again, too, for me, it's kind of a grease thing. I feel like you
Yeah,
get a
I get what
handful
you're
of, like,
saying.
this greasy pretzel, and I don't like them.
I would still eat these over pita chips though.
I would too.
Okay. Fruit snacks,
Yeah, I'm not a big fruit snack guy.
Fritos.
Yeah, I would. Not number Cheetos Puffs, which is actually
yeah.
unique. For
Okay.
me.
Okay. I'm
Trash.
just gonna put this in. Yeah.
Another Pringle, straight. Into
I'm
the
gonna.
trash.
I would prefer the sour cream and onion
whatever.
ones
Yeah.
over the.
So would I. Yeah, sure.
I'd actually probably honestly eat those over those two.
All right. Yeah, fine.
This is S tier. Sweet
So-
and spicy chili Doritos.
The weird thing for me is that when somebody first introduced these to me, I thought they were the goat. I was like, "Holy fuck, these are
These
good."
are the goat.
And I no longer think that. I think that Cool Ranch is definitely better. And
Wrong.
then, but I do think, like, on a case by case basis, I would pick these over Nacho Cheese Doritos. I would never put these over Flaming Hot Cheetos.
My uncle is advocating for Ritz crackers with Cheese Whiz, which I'm gonna go against just because I generally don't like Cheese Whiz.
Maybe Carly could comment in the comments on this one, but I think we were watching a show or something where somebody did a charcuterie board with fucking Ritz crackers and cheese on it, and it was so good to me. Like, honestly, Ritz crackers and cheese is delicious, and Cheese Whiz. I mean, but
Yeah.
it's like a staple of being white trash. Like that is your fucking like charcuterie board of like fucking Ritz crackers and Cheese Whiz, and it's so funny because like as a kid growing up, we had that shit all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. Back to these sweet and spicy chilies. These are like this. These are my goat on this list. Like these
I
are
will
what I'm.
not let you put them above Cool Ranch. I can promise you that.
Can I put them next? Can I put them equal?
Fine.
If that was
I like
possible.
Funyuns more, but I'll let you do that. They are not going above Cool Ranch Doritos.
They're the best Dorito in the world. Anyways, salt and anything salt and vinegar is trash. Thank you, Uncle Kyle. Disagree with you there. Star Crunch.
Delicious.
These have to be
A.
A. These are
H.
S.
I would say so too, but okay, yeah, I'll just agree. I'll just let you do it.
I'm putting them in front of Funyuns because
I love Star Crunches.
Star Crunch is a goat. Regular Sun Chips.
Is that the original? They must have changed the bag. That looks weird to me.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
original
it is
Sun
original.
Chips.
Okay. Yeah, D tier. I don't know.
These are the best plain chips on the
So
board.
you're gonna put them above Ruffles original in D tier, top of D.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I believe these are just original Tostitos.
Yep. And this is another one where when it's independent of salsa, not good. Like you're not buying Tostitos to snack on Tostitos.
Yeah, that's why I'm putting them at the bottom of D tier. They're right there with the Stacy's where it's like you need a dip for them to be
Yes, you
good,
do.
but they're not F tier. They're not that
Yep.
bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Triscuits.
Triscuits are delicious. I'm a wheat thin fella myself.
Same.
Over Triscuits. So I'd put Triscuits somewhere in the middle of maybe D tier.
I was
Because
gonna
Triscuits are kind of dependent on some sort of like a cheese or something too. Like most people aren't just eating plain Triscuits because you're just gonna dry the shit out of your mouth. So I would put them somewhere towards the top of D probably.
I don't know if I can go that high. I think these are like in the Stacy's Tostitos category for myself personally.
I don't disagree with that per
Like
se.
they're all
I like
like
Wheat Thins more, which is Wheat Thins is next on the list. So I'd
Yeah.
put Wheat Thins above maybe Fritos.
I'd put Wheat Thins
I probably would put it above
arguably
those
top
pretzels.
of. I'd put them probably arguably top of like C for me.
Oh, I don't think so. Just because Wheat Thins, like even though I like them, I would still want to have like some sort of a cheese or something with them too. And I'd rather pick up like even Cheetos Puffs over a plain Wheat Thin, just dry.
What about above the kettle chips?
Yeah, okay, fine.
And
I
then
think you
last,
should bump a kettle down into the D category then.
salt and vinegar. Bye.
Goldfish Blasted.
The flavor blasted.
I think those
Goldfish.
could easily go in the trash can for me. Maybe
Yeah.
F at best. Because
I'm
I
gonna
think
put
the
'em up-
flavor blast ones are just like they're just not good. I think
I'd
they're
pick
kinda gross.
those over pretzels and probably over the hint of lime chips. So that's where they're gonna go for us.
You mean over peanuts? Yeah, same.
Did I say, yeah, peanuts. But yeah, so this is our list here. Make sure you're following us on Twitter
Yep.
so that if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, you will see the image there. It is downloaded. I will upload it on the Twitter immediately following this.
I'm gonna have to send that to my brothers because they were giving me shit the other day. My brothers actually called me late the other night, maybe a couple weeks ago. And they were like, "Hey, help us rank some fast food restaurants." And I was like, "Oh, I've already done that. Here's my list."
I did this
And
for a whole podcast.
We battled about it. My brother also said that he should have been here when we debated cereal because he's a big cereal guy.
We'll bring him back.
That's what I told him. I said, "You have a standing invite. Come on over."
We will rehash the argument, but that was a great topic. It killed a lot of time. And speaking of killed a lot of time, we got to rate our beers. What do you have for me? 7.5?
Yep, I like it. It's good. I would buy it again.
I am actually probably also going to go 7.5. This was very good. This I think is more of a stout that you would like. It's not more of a sour than you would like. It's not overly sour. That sour note is there, but it kind of works because it's a key lime thing. The mango was a little bit weird. I could have done without that, but
Carly loves mango, so she might like that. But neither of us have ever really liked sours too, so I don't know.
all right, 7.5.
While Jake
for
is
myself.
typing that out, my next beer is from Rusty Rail Brewing, and this one was also courtesy of Carly because she pointed it out and thought it looked really good, and I am going to check it out. But it's called Waffle Sauce, and it is a
Ooh.
maple pecan imperial brown ale.
Oh,
Waffle Sauce.
we might have to trade some beers here. That sounds amazing.
I'm hoping that I crack this open and it just smells like maple syrup to me. That would be ideal.
Anything maple syrup is absolutely amongst the
Does not
best.
smell like maple syrup, but it does smell good.
All right. My second beer is Riverlands Brewing Company, and it is their Pastry Power Apple Crisp Sour, which I'm cheating. I've had this one before, but it's so fucking good that I have to drink it on the podcast.
Dude, I went to Total Wine. I told Jake that's kind of why we were a little bit more delayed today, because A, I had to turn in a school project that I forgot about that was due today. But B, I also had to go to Total Wine and pick up some new beer. And almost every time that I'm there, I have a really hard time not just buying Belching Beaver peanut butter stout. And this time I said, fuck it, and I bought another one. So I won't drink it on the podcast again, but I had to just get one because I love it.
Yeah, I feel like it's okay for us to have some beers that we've had before for the reviews, personally.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, your topic took up a lot of time, a lot more than I was expecting. So I'm going to pivot off of what I was going to talk about and save that for next week and talk about a little bit more of a fun topic, we'll say. So, Kyle.
Jake.
That is my name. Thank you. What are 3 things that if money was no object, you would start collecting?
Computer parts. I have no reason to want multiple computer parts other than because I wouldn't be functional for me. I'm never going to use more than one computer other than my laptop. But I have this addiction to like wanting to build computers all the time. And I would just, when you watch, like, I guess most people probably can't relate to this, but if you watch any like the PC component or like PC building YouTubers and you see in like their background of their set and they just have shelves full of PC parts.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, can you imagine?
You're like, the things I would do for that. Yeah, no, that would
so that's definitely one of them for me.
To be a little different from you, number 1 for me, it's actually, you can see it over my left shoulder here. It's baseball gloves. I used to be very...
I thought you were going to go with whiskey.
Number 2 on my list. But no, baseball gloves. There's always been something about baseball gloves that I've loved. When I was a baseball player, and even now as like a softball player, I've always prided myself on being a good defensive player, more so than like a great offensive player. And the glove to me, it's like what connects you to the baseball. And I've always like really enjoyed. I like the feel of leather. I like the feel of really nice leather. I've had probably over 60 or 70 different baseball gloves since I started playing the game. And a lot of that was through like trading and buying and selling and all of that fun stuff. And for me, playing softball more this summer after having to take, a year off with COVID, it really kind of ignited that passion again, where I just want to buy more baseball gloves, and it takes a lot for me to not do it, but there's just something about a really great baseball glove that hits different for me.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Next on my list would absolutely 110% be video game consoles, because I actually have a pretty decent collection of them right now, but I wish that I had basically all of them from forever.
Makes sense.
And the problem is that I probably wouldn't play them most of the time. Like, I've had a GameCube for years and I can't remember the last time I played it. I think the only game that I ever actually bought for it when I rebought a GameCube was Animal Crossing, like the OG Animal Crossing, and played that a little bit, but nothing really since then. But that being said, I have a Nintendo 64, GameCube, I have an Xbox One, I have a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, I have a Nintendo Switch. Like, I love video game consoles, and I think it's fun just to have them, and I mean, ideally, if I had a bigger house, I would probably try to display them some way, shape, or form, like other than just under my TV, because I think that they're pretty cool. Like, I love to have the old consoles. I wish I had my old Game Boys and shit,
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly there. I wish I never got rid of any of the systems. But you talking about displaying them, it's a real quick question that I just want to kind of ask you about. What are your thoughts on like wall-mounted PCs?
I think they're awesome. I think if you have the space for it, I think they're really cool. The only concern of mine is like having to clean them all the time and like the dust concept, because usually if they're wall mounted, they have no cover on them whatsoever. So there's no way for you to filter the dust. They're just going to be dirty all the time, probably.
Right.
And not necessarily like gross. Like, it's pretty easy for you just to reach up and take an air duster and blast it out. You know what I mean? But that being said, that'd be kind of like my only concern, but I think they look really cool. I also really like the ones that people have mounted in like desks now. So like it's
Yeah.
you make like a 3 or 4 inch deep desk and put your computer into the desk with like a plexiglass top or whatever it is. I think those are really cool too.
Yeah, Leon Lee has a desk that they sell, which is essentially meant to be a computer case too, and,
Yeah,
I've always
sure.
thought those were sick.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, number 2 for me would be whiskey. I'm very clearly a whiskey fan, and the problem with being a whiskey fan is it's expensive. There's no cheap way to get good whiskey.
Yeah,
There's
they're
just not.
expensive.
They're just not. Like even there, like I have a bunch of whiskey. I think the most expensive bottle is like 45, $50. Like it's nothing crazy. And I've had a lot of whiskeys that are in that $100 plus range that I would love to be able to regularly buy because they're some of my favorites, but I just can't
Sure.
justify that expense.
Yeah, it's expensive, man. That's a hobby too, where if you're not having the time just to kind of like sit down and enjoy that, and like that's not a part of your routine, like just to display the bottle probably isn't going to do it for you. You have to be able to enjoy it too. So that's a tough one to do, just to justify expending that much income on something that which I mean, the same could be said of anything that I said too. Like the investment of computer parts would be disgustingly high, and I'd never use most of them, but just having the option of be like, oh, I think I'll pull my 3090 off the shelf today and plug it in. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And same with you. Like I wish I could pull this $500 bottle of whiskey off my shelf today and take a sip, but yeah, it's expensive for sure.
Yeah, and there is like the expensive whiskeys. When I refer to those, I'm referring more to the whiskeys too that are just inherently expensive, like not because of marketing or rarity or anything like that, but like good whiskeys that are truly just kind of expensive, not like your Pappy Van Winkles that are like expensive because they're rare. Like I'm just talking about like good expensive bottles of whiskey that aren't like, especially too, it's hard to say that even because like it's regional, like Weller Reserve, like you can get that in places like Ohio and it's bottom shelf. It's like $30 a bottle. And if you find that in Illinois, it's top shelf, 150 a bottle plus.
Dude, geographic availability of certain things makes it like, it's wild how much more valuable something can be just because of the region that you're in.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane because it's so drastically different. Like especially with liquor, because of the liquor laws being different in so many states. Like there's just in some like ABC states where the state does all of the buying, you just won't see certain liquors in general, not just whiskey, but just certain liquors. They just will never be available because the state is the only one who could buy them.
Yeah, thankfully I've never lived in a place like that. That sounds terrible.
We visited a place like that and we didn't know it was like that until we got there and we're like, oh, we'll just go to the liquor store. Oh, the liquor store's closed. We had to get like shitty skunked out Trulies from a 7-Eleven.
Dude, being from Iowa, like growing up, you have booze everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
So I remember the first time I went to an Iowa-Nebraska game at Nebraska, and I was just walking around with a 30 rack of Busch Light, and I was like 19 years old. And then finally, like one of these Nebraska fans walks up to me and they're like, "Hey, dude, this is a dry campus." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?" And they're like, "You can't have booze here." And I was like, "What the fuck? This is a goddamn college football tailgate. What do you mean I can't have booze?"
Yep.
And it just blew my mind. Like the dry anything concept to me just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yep. Agreed wholeheartedly. All right. What
That
is
being
number?
said, really quick, on my bucket list is 100% going to Ireland and trying every Irish whiskey I can get my hands on, and really honestly every Irish beer too, because I just love Irish whiskeys, love dark Irish stouts, and I love Irish reds.
Couples trip?
Dude, I would love to go to Ireland.
I'm like 65% Irish. I've been meaning to go to the homeland.
I'm at least 50%. I don't fucking know what my genealogy is, but my mom's side is very Irish.
Yeah, my mom's side is like off the boat Irish, and my dad's side has some sprinkled in there. So yeah, definitely on my bucket list as well. 100% agree with you there.
My third and final, with money being no object, would be cars. And it's not like I'm obsessed with cars or anything like that, but I think if you could wake up in the morning, walk out to your like 55 car garage, and just go, I think I'm going to take the Porsche today. Like, I can't imagine how fucking dope that would be. Like, I'm going to take the Tesla today. I'm going to take the Lamborghini today. You know, it'd be so much fun just to drive those vehicles just at will.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Cars is definitely, it's got to be up there. My brain went, even though I said money was no object, my brain didn't go like there. But for me, it would be like sports memorabilia. Like, I wish I could just own like, if money was no object, I could be like the glove that Chris Bryant used in the World Series, a Babe
Yeah.
Ruth bat, an Ernie Banks signed bat, like just getting things that are just like 1 in a million. Like literally
Yeah.
just because like with cars, there's very few cars that are truly like 1 of 1 or 1 of 2. Whereas like with sports memorabilia, like if I get the glove that Chris Bryant used in the World Series, that is 1 of 1. That is the only glove that he used in that World Series.
I've changed my second topic for the day based on that, based on what you literally just said, and I think it'll be. I'm interested to hear your opinion. I've been talking about this a little bit, but it doesn't matter. We can finish this discussion first. But for me, like it's the utility of cars, right? So like if I have
Yeah.
a bunch of sports memorabilia, unlike anything else that we've listed, other than the whiskey, like you're not going to enjoy any of those things other than just admiring them. But with a car, like I
True.
can hop in my Lamborghini and go fucking hit 85 like in no seconds at all on the highway and just fucking cruising. You know what I mean? So it'd be a ton of
Yeah.
fun just to get out there and have that option available.
That aspect is definitely, I think, probably most unique to cars, just because driving a car is such a unique experience, and driving
Yep.
like supercars is even more of a unique experience.
Never done it. Love to do it.
Very little experience doing it. I've had the ability to drive a Lamborghini Murcielago before. And what I consider to be supercars too are like some import cars. So like a Toyota Super Mark IV, a GTR R34. I've had the ability to drive those. And I consider those to be like my supercars just because I've always kind of liked that like tuner car culture.
Sure.
But yeah, it's an experience. You ain't driving your Chevy Impala. Let's put it that way.
I hate my car. I would love to have a different car. And
I
do
didn't
have a
mind
Chevy
your
Impala.
car.
It's a boat. It's not exciting. There's nothing sexy about a fucking Chevrolet Impala. I really want to go. Well, I know for a fact with 100% certainty that my next vehicle is going to be fully electric. I don't know which exactly it's going to be yet, but I'm going to the electric side of vehicles for sure next.
Makes sense. You got to do what you got to do.
Indeed.
All right. Well, that is all for my topic. Kyle, what is topic number 2 for you?
I don't know how long this is going to last because it depends on your level of experience with this topic. But that being said, I want to know, based on what you just said, because I think the rarity aspect and like the one of a kind aspect applies to this, and it's why it's getting popular. What is your opinion on NFTs? And if you don't know what an NFT is, and for the audience, I can kind of explain it. It's a non-fungible token. So essentially what an NFT is it is a digital, not necessarily a reproduction of something, but it is a digital something that is unique to you. So you would be the only or one of very few people that would own this digital property. So what people are doing a lot right now is you'll own. So I have a friend that I work with, and he owns certain NFTs that are video clips of like impressive moments in basketball right now. So he'll own the video clip of like LeBron James dunking the ball, right? Or something like that. And based on the rarity of these clips, people are, and it could be anything, right? So it could be, there's another one too that is like, I think it's called Weird Whales, where this like fucking like 11-year-old kid or however old he is designed these digital images of whales and like these weird faces and shit, and he sold the digital image of these whales for money. And so the crazy thing to me is that it is becoming an incredibly monetary industry, and it is all digital. And so I'm curious what you think about NFTs. Like, would you ever invest in NFTs? Is there a certain type of NFT that you'd go for, given your admiration of sports memorabilia? Is that something you'd be interested in the sports world?
Yeah, definitely. I have purchased NBA Top Shots in the past. I do still have a couple that I am holding. I regret not selling them when they were at peak, but that's a different story.
Inside 2020 in the markets.
Always is. For me, I think NFTs were kind of like it was kind of an inevitable in my opinion. Like we've found a way to digitalize everything else. You know, when it comes to like even just like video games, like we've adapted video games from originally, you know, Pong was like your first video game ever. That was adapted from an actual event, like an actual thing that you could do. And we're seeing that even now with like VR taking over, where it's like now you're just physically, you're still doing the thing you were doing before. Now it's just in a game. Like we've digitalized everything that we have. We've digitalized everything that we do. With cryptocurrency being a thing, this was inevitably, in my opinion, something that was going to happen. I think there's a ton of room for growth, and I think we're still like at the floor of NFTs. That being said, there are some I have a hard time with things that are inaccessible, and for like the NFTs that are worth investing in, they're very inaccessible. Like CryptoPunks is probably the most, I don't know if it's the most popular or the most expensive that are out there, but it's some of the most expensive ones that I hear about just based off of people that I follow on social media. And if you're not familiar, I don't know if you're super familiar with CryptoPunks. It's essentially like 8-bit renderings of like different people. So they're like different characters, they're stylized different way, and they're all unique. Or there's variations of X. There's a punk, a CryptoPunk, and there's X variations of it. And like the floor to get into that, it's hundreds of Ethereum, which is just it's an insane amount of money. And it's just a crazy investment to start off with. And for the vast majority of people, like, that's inaccessible. It's just it's an insane amount of money to drop on a non-tangible item. Plus, like, a lot of the people who are in that space are like mocking people for not being in that space. It's like, sorry, I don't have $100,000 worth of Ethereum to just drop on stuff right now. Like, it's just there's a disconnect. Yeah. I think there is a place for NFTs to exist, and like you're saying, as a sports fan, the NBA Top Shot model could be extrapolated into fucking golf, tennis, baseball, football. Like, it could be anything. And
it's like, the baseball card of the past is now the NFT.
Exactly. It's a modernization of that, that previous industry. And
it's funny too, because like you talk about like just like from a sports perspective, but it could be the same kind of concept for your trading card games, like your Pokemon or your Yu-Gi-Oh or anything like that. Like, you could have a digital version of that card, or even like an avatar of a character, and have it be a limited edition NFT that you own, and there's an assigned value to that. And I think it's extraordinary to me how this is kind of like, I won't say it's like the way of the future, but it is definitely something that it's got so much momentum now that I don't think it's going away. I think this is kind of like something that is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But the thing for me, and honestly, like at the end of the day, it makes me feel like kind of like a boomer, but I don't get it. And I really don't understand the appeal to this concept, because I do understand. So here's the thing. I will say I understand it in one respect and one respect only, and that is as somebody that wants to take advantage of that type of a market, and you want to purchase an NFT in the intent of reselling it at a higher value. That to me makes sense, even though I don't understand why you would ever want a digital copy of something. I think if you're trying to do it in a way to make money, I think it is a valuable way for you to do that. That being said, as a collector of NFTs, I don't understand it, because and with sports specifically, right? Like, me owning one of 100 videos of LeBron dunking the ball doesn't mean anything to me. I can go on fucking YouTube right now and watch that clip for free. So the fact that I own it, if you're not using that in a sense of like, I want to sell this eventually for more money, then what? I don't understand the value that it has to you as the consumer of that. Like, you own that digital video clip, but it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, even though you own it, anybody can watch that. So it's not like you have a Rembrandt or a fucking Da Vinci painting in your house. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that. You have something that everybody can go have complete accessibility to at any given time. It's not like you have the only copy of the Mona Lisa in your house, and if anybody wants to see it, they have to come to your house. I can find everything that you're looking at on the internet right now.
Yes, I get what you're saying, and I think it is dependent on the NFT as well. Like with CryptoPunks, if you try and take a CryptoPunk that you don't own and make it your profile picture on Twitter, you will get like a copyright strike on your Twitter account. Like, it's a tangible copyright. It's like, or I don't even know if it's copyrighted, but it's like a tangible good that people have use for different things.
What's that called again? Sorry, say it again.
CryptoPunks. I don't know. I think it's a modernization of art, and there's a market for it. It's not going to be a market that everybody goes into, but I appreciate it for what it is. And if I had more financial means, I would probably invest more heavily than I.
Dude, did you ever play any like the old? It's not even really like an RPG, but like the Coca-Cola World or whatever the fuck it was called,
Yeah,
or
My
any of
Coke.
those.
My Coke.
MyCoke.com. Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
a couple other ones that I can't remember. That is what like this is. Like this
Yeah.
cyberpunk or CryptoPunk, I mean.
I think
It's fucking-
CryptoPunks are sick.
It's fucking it is literally just it looks like a screenshot from one of those old games, but people are paying a ton of money for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on the front page and look at like punks for sale, I think it's in order. Like the cheapest is 99.99 Ethereum. You go to like the top end of it, and you're looking at over like some of these are listed for sale for like $3 billion.
Yeah, dude. I just honestly, I don't-
Yeah, like
I don't
1,000
get it.
Ethereum. Somebody, I think this one person has theirs listed for 1,000,000 Ethereum.
Yeah, it looks like the cheapest is around like 342,000 from what I'm seeing.
Yeah. But this is the crazy thing about punks is like 6 months ago, 1 million was the ceiling. They've grown so heavily, so quickly. And I don't know. Again, there's different
the
levels.
top one is worth like I don't know if that's. I think it's 1 million Ethereum. Is that what that says? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How is this 8-bit character of a brown-haired woman with orange or purple tinted sunglasses worth fucking three? I don't know if that's $3 billion.
It's
or whatever.
no, Kyle. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
$3
12,
trillion,
13,
I
14,
think.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 digits after the 3.
That is insane.
No one's ever going to buy that for what that's worth. That person is listing theirs at this level for the memes of things.
That is literally insane.
But yeah, it's like,
This is more money than most people will make in their lifetimes for a digital 8-bit image.
yeah, and that's my point. It's just like there's some NFTs are just going to be inaccessible to the general public, but I think there is a level of it which is intriguing to people, and it's no different, in my opinion, than investing in cryptocurrency. It's the same kind of non-tangible good, and you're doing it for whether it's the appreciation of the good itself or for the investment opportunity that the good brings, and that's where I stand on it. I think there is a place for it. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and
Dude,
that's
you know what
okay.
The interesting thing is for me is I think that this is like the OnlyFans of the world, like where you have
Kind
the
of.
market where people would sell like, hey, I am such and such person. I'm going to sell 5 images of me, like in some sort of a pose, and it is unique, and
They
you're
do
the only
that.
one that's ever going to have. Yeah, I'm sure they do.
If
That
you
to
go,
me is like that is more of a market to me than an 8-bit character. Like I could totally see like people buying into that and people taking advantage of that as a a potential distributor of that type of a product. But it's just like outside
Yeah.
of that, like when it like oh my god, it blows my mind. Like
Yeah.
that people will pay for these things, and it's just something that I've never been able to wrap my head around. I've had quite a few conversations with some people that I know that purchase these things, and not necessarily like all types of NFTs, mostly sports related from the people that I've talked to, but it's just I don't get it, and I'm still struggling to wrap my head around it. And I understand that it's not going away, but I just for the life of me, I don't understand why anybody would ever want a digital something that I can. It's so okay, and I've compared it this way, right? Like for me, if I want to go see the Mona Lisa, I am going to book a trip to France, and I'm going to go to the Louvre, and I'm going to go look at Mona Lisa, right? If I want to see a digital imprint of Mona Lisa, it's not going to be the same experience. I
Yeah.
can go look up the Mona Lisa right now. It's not the same experience. I need to go there to see the museum, to see the art, to see the whole experience, right? There's a whole experience involved in going to see that image. But with an NFT, my ability to go look at your clip of some sports event happening right now is absolutely the same experience as you purchasing that NFT and watching that clip. But somehow we've attached this limited edition concept to these NFTs that is giving them an assigned value, and that to me is bewildering.
I think if you look at NFTs just through the realm of like the clips and stuff like that, I can see where you're coming from. But like, if you really think about it, like it's no different than owning a skin in game. Like there's there's gaming, like my Fortnite account is worth probably close to $1,000 just because I have some like season 1 skins that you can't get it ever again.
It's
And
so
that's the
funny
thing.
that you bring that up because I just had a conversation recently with a friend of mine, but it's another topic, so I don't want to dive into it. But I hate the concept of the pay for anything within a video game. I hate that concept. Like I hate the hey, in order to be cool amongst your friends, you have to give us more money so your character can look a little bit different because it doesn't change the experience of your gameplay at all. It is truly a visual effect only, and you're not gaining anything else from it. It is truly cosmetic. There's no performance in it. There's no anything that you are gaining other than, hey guys, I look cool. And
Yeah.
and it's just it.
Yeah.
I get that I'm in the minority of people probably in from this perspective because I think people are clearly spending the money on this. Almost every single video game has adapted to this concept of selling some sort of a cosmetic override in game because they have realized that the market for it is massive. I just don't get it, and I probably never will.
And that's okay. That's
That is
the
okay.
that's the fun of this is
That's
it's
the boomer part of my brain, apparently.
hey, I'm you know, you want to know how I'm a boomer? It is 10:15 p.m. Central Time and I'm ready for bed.
I feel that.
So I understand the boomer side of things, but that that was a really good topic. I was actually planning to bring that up in at some point, so I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
I think it led to a really good conversation.
Dude, people throw some opinions out there too on Twitter. Like, hit us up, let us know on the Two Average Husbands account or on our personal accounts. Let us know what you think about NFTs and where you think that market is going in the future. And I'll be happy to hear your perspective and kind of try to wrap my head around it a little bit better because I've had some of these conversations, but I don't get it, man. I don't, and I think it's going to take something pretty significant for me to change my mind on that. But I'd love to hear other people's opinions too.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're somebody who owns a ton of NFTs or you're very heavily invested, whether it's in the actual purchasing and selling, if you're in the production side of NFTs, reach out to one of us. Maybe we'll have you on for an episode and you can kind of talk to it,
Yeah, sure.
talk to us a little bit more in depth. That's one thing that I do kind of want to start to do a little bit more on this podcast is get some people who are kind of experts, for lack of a better term, in some of these industries that we're super interested in and kind of seeing their view on some of these things. So that was a really great topic, Kyle. I think that was awesome. Before we jump into my final topic, just because I'm going to make our last topic short and sweet just because we're running out of time here. What do you rank your second beer?
I would give this a 7.0.
Okay. Rookie score?
It's still pretty good. It's not bad. I wouldn't probably pick this one up again. If it was available, on tap somewhere, maybe I'd give it another shot. But I wouldn't go out of my way to go buy this one again. But it was good.
That's disappointing. I was hoping for higher things out of that.
Well, the big thing with brown ales, and we've talked about this before, is most brown ales are very, very much in the same range when it comes to ratings from I think both of us. Because your browns, even when they add a little bit more flavor, it always has kind of that same underlying brown beer tone.
Yeah.
So it's
if you did that same flavor profile in a stout, it'd be so much better.
Agreed.
For mine, I'm going to give it a 7.9. It is a phenomenal beer. If you like sours, even if you don't like sours, I think you can enjoy this. It's great. But to start to wrap us up here, Kyle, what are I was going to do 10, but I don't want to take up too much time.
10.
So let's just do 5. What are 5 things that you are looking for in terms of like the next piece of property that you own or
It's a good question.
are
It's
like
a good topic too.
Yeah, like we'll just say that in the next piece of property that you would buy, you would build, etc. What are 5 things that you would really hope that property has?
So I think this is kind of 2, but you can tell me if it's 1 or 2. I don't care. I can give this either as 2 or one of my things. But as somebody that grew up in the Midwest and that I've now relocated to the Southwest, I could tell you that if I could, anywhere in the United States at least, get this again, it would be priceless to me. I would pay a lot of money to, again, have access to either an attic or a basement because they don't exist here. It is very hard to find them. And when you do, it usually comes associated with a cost for sure. And so for me, like, I think the value of storage space, specifically in the form of an attic or a basement, is almost priceless to me now that I've left. It is a staple of the Midwest. You find it everywhere. Every single property has it. But here, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, like that is probably my number one on the list is if I need storage space, but typically that is kind of associated with like the Midwestern mentality, like I said, of an attic or a basement. So I'd love to have either one of those again.
Basement is actually number one on my list as well. I love fully finished basements. There's been houses where I was I will buy this house just because of the basement.
Get the football den in the basement.
Exactly. Well, and that's what Jess has basically already told me. Like, if we have a basement in our house, like it can be your kind of like man cave. And so I'm like going to fully run with that if I have the,
your
if I had the
she-shed,
chance.
as you were.
Yeah. She shed. But yeah, basements, I don't care as much for an attic. Maybe that's because
Storage, man.
the houses I grew up in never had an attic, but in the basement we had a separate room for storage. We had we had a section that wasn't finished even. It was just purely put all
like
your
I said,
shit
one or the
back
other.
there.
I don't need both.
Yeah.
But if I had one or the other, it'd be extremely helpful given now that I've because we came from the Midwest, right, with probably a little bit of extra stuff, and we've inherited some stuff and got some more stuff and blah 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 blah, and now we just all of our closets are full of storage.
Yeah.
In like spare rooms and stuff, and I would love for that to not be a thing, so people could use the closets when they stay here. But
yeah, I lean basement over attic just because basements typically, even if you use it for storage, there's still some usable space.
yeah, I agree with you.
So
and you don't have like the the property of like I have to crouch in my fucking attic to go do things either. Like,
exactly.
It's a more usable space to have a basement typically, I would say.
Yeah, so basement is number one on my list as well. What's number two for you?
Not everybody would probably agree with this, but I would say a dual sink in the bathroom.
Yep.
It was one of the ones on our list when we were house shopping. It was a must-have for us, and we ended up not getting it, which is fine. Like we kind of had to settle outside of that a little bit, which is not what we wanted to do. But given the market that we were looking at, we weren't loving a lot of the houses that we were seeing, and this one we loved. And so we went with the house that we loved, despite the fact that we weren't going to get the double sink. But we're still thinking about installing a double sink in that bathroom. So it is a must-have for us, I think.
For me, in very similar vein to what you're referring to, it's just 2 bathrooms. You'd be surprised the number of houses that are for sale in Illinois that have just 1 bathroom. And I can't.
I think any house built in the 2000s and later needs to have more than 1 bathroom. If you
Any
are
house-
building a house now and you're putting 1 bathroom in it, you're a fucking idiot.
Any house ever should have 2 bathrooms. Like, I don't care.
I agree.
Like, if I bought a house with 1 bathroom, the first thing I would do is figure out where I could put in another bathroom. Yep. Like, I don't get it. Especially like the weirdest thing to me, which is a very common thing in Illinois houses, the 1 bathroom is the master bathroom. So it's connected to the bedroom. Do you want every single person that comes in your house having to go through your bedroom to go to the bathroom?
No. Yeah,
no,
you don't want that.
You don't.
It's awkward.
So 2 bathrooms, absolute must have for me in my future property.
Next for me would be a bigger garage. And that being said, so we have a 2-stall garage at our house right now. And when we say 2-stall, we mean there is no additional space in that garage for anything
cramped.
other than 2 vehicles. If you put 2 cars in there, you have to like fucking sidestep your way around one of the cars just to get yourself to where you need to be. And so I need a garage that is, I would say like 2.5 to 3 stall garage at the minimum, because you need to have at least a little bit more space so that you can fucking move.
Yeah.
And that goes into the storage aspect too, right? So if you have a little bit of extra space in your garage, you can use that for storage too, and that helps for a number of reasons. So definitely a bigger garage than something that will barely fit 2 vehicles is a must-have.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there.
A garage in general, by the way, is a must-have. The fucking like carport concept or no garage, like park in the street. No, thank you. I have to have a garage in my house.
Yeah, I'm not buying a house if I don't care. Even if it's a detached garage, I'm buying a garage, like a house with a garage.
Yeah, preferable to have it attached, obviously, but
Agreed.
detached would be fine too. I have to have a garage.
Even if I bought a detached garage, I would probably build like a breezeway to make it.
I feel like detached garages aren't really that much of a thing here either. I think that's more of a Midwestern
Yeah, I think
thing too.
It's Midwest, and then when we were looking at houses more in like the Carolinas, it was very common there as well. Like nice places with nicer weather.
Yeah, you see either carports here, which is just like a covered driveway essentially, or you see a garage that's attached. You don't really see like a separate garage.
Yeah. For me, number 3 would be, and this is gonna be like probably the most like first world problem thing that I'm gonna say this entire time. I want a sink that faces like wherever my living room is so that I can do the dishes and watch TV at the same time. Like it's so weird to say, and it's not truly
You
like
want like a sink in like your island then, like in the kitchen? Like,
yeah,
you want like a center sink? Okay.
yeah, essentially. So like the way it is at my parents' house, their island is it's got like supporting beams, so it's not really like an island per se,
Sure.
but it's got like the bar cut out.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And theirs faces like the living room, so if you're doing anything in the kitchen, you can still see the TV. Like I don't know, it's just like it's a pure, like I said, first world problems thing. But I would love to have that. It's not a must have, but it's one of those things that I would really enjoy having. And kind of with that, I'll just clump it all into one. Then I guess I'll say I want like a fully functional island. So I like when people have like their stoves or dishwashers or anything that are part of their island too. I really like that, and I would love to have something like that in my house.
Yeah, sure. I would say number 4 for me is a big backyard, which is very tough to find here. And I think our yard is decent size and it fits our needs now. But we talk about all the time how we'd love to like plant a couple fruit trees.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's very difficult for us to figure out where would that work. And I don't know right now. We don't know what the answer is, and which is why we haven't really done it, because it doesn't really make sense in the yard that we have, because our yard works and makes sense for 2 people that hang out outside a little bit, but we don't have a like dog or like an outdoor pet that you need to cater to. But that being said, even if I didn't have a dog, I'd still like to have a little bit bigger yard for like the pure utility of like, hey, I want to plant a tree over here, or hey, I want to do this with my yard. By the way, it'd be nice to have grass, but
Yeah.
that's not a requirement for me, and definitely not something that's accessible here in the southwestern United States.
You'd almost have to use like that little side lot thing that you have,
Which
you know
we don't
what I'm
want to do.
talking
You know,
about?
you
Yeah.
want to have it like to give you a little bit of shade. Except for if we plant a tree in our yard, it covers the pool, which means you don't want the shade there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see your struggles there. So I feel where you're coming from there. Specifically for us, a fenced in yard, because
Yeah, yeah.
we have dogs. We'd love to be able to just
Even
let
when you
our
don't have
dogs. Yeah, we would love to just be able to let our dogs out and let them run around and not have to worry about them getting out or anything like that.
Yep.
Our dogs don't dig. They don't jump super high, so we don't have to worry about it. But just like having a nice fenced in yard where we can just sit on the patio, have a couple cocktails just while we're
Yeah.
grilling out, letting the dogs run around, like that'd be so ideal for me.
Yeah, and that being said, like this goes hand in hand with what you said. It's not my next one on the list, but I think having a accessible pet door, just so your pets can let themselves out, is money when you have a property. Like for me now, I built a catio for our cats because they like to be outside too. But it's just a small enclosed space of our patio, and they have a cat door that they can go out whenever they want, and they get to go enjoy that space on their own. And they're not just going to sit there and paw at the door or whatever and make me let them out. They just do it on their own at their own free will, and I think that is invaluable as a pet owner.
I don't trust my dogs that much.
Get a tall enough fence and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
And make sure
probably,
they can't dig underneath it, I guess, too.
probably true. All right, number 5 for me would be I really want a bar in my house. Like whether that's in the basement, whether that's something I can build in my front room, like I'd love to have like just a hangout like bar. Actually, the coolest thing that I've ever seen, not the coolest thing I've ever seen, the coolest thing I've seen recently for like an addition to a house was these people built like a bar in their shed.
Yeah, we had some friends that did that too, and it was pretty awesome. They did it
Yeah.
out by their pool, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. Again,
I
not
will
a not a must have by any means, but something that I think would be really cool to have.
See, I think those things are really awesome, but you have to be somebody that likes to cater and have people over at your house for that to be utilized enough for it to be worth it.
True.
Otherwise, it's kind of a waste of space. Like for me right now, if I built a bar in my house, it would never get used because we don't have people over often enough for that to be a thing. We'd rather just go to the bar.
Right.
But I do see the utility, and I have seen some really awesome home bars, and I think that is something that is nice to have if you like to have people over, for sure.
Yeah, I just think my parents have always had one since I can remember, and it was always great to it turned into just a hangout spot. Like everybody would gravitate around the bar, whether that was just even us having friends over, like when we're not drinking, even like we would just hang out at the bar just because it was like there was a TV behind it, there were like enough seating for everybody, you could play games there, like it just worked. Yeah, again, not a must have by any means, but something that I think it would just be really really awesome.
The last absolute must-have for me is a dedicated laundry room. There has to be a
Yes.
space in your house that is dedicated and deliberately designed for it to be a laundry space. Because I think if you have to try to accommodate for that, like in just another room of your house, it doesn't make any sense. Like if you try to just throw a washer and dryer in your basement, it doesn't really work that great. Or if you try to just throw it into a different room into your house because that's where it happens to be set up for, it's not as nice. And you need to have some sort of a dedicated space. And it doesn't have to be huge. You just have enough room and the plumbing. And it would be really nice if there was a utility sink in that space.
Yep.
So that's my kind of final must have.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly because whenever we fold clothes when we do laundry, it just has to go on our table, like our kitchen table, because we don't have the space to do it anywhere else. And then
That
it's
being
like if
said,
we're lazy and we
washer
don't
and
put
dryer in your house in general is a must have.
Yes, absolutely.
Laundromats can fuck right off.
I will never use a laundromat if I don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it is a nice thing to have. We kind of had it in my parents' house, but again, it was just kind of like essentially what would be considered probably the attic of our house got turned into our laundry room, so it was a little small. It wasn't really an attic, so and it was my parents' master bedroom, and then they had a walk-in closet, and then on the other side of the walk-in closet was originally just storage. But instead of having the laundry on the main floor of our house in like what we consider our mud room, they rerouted the pipes up to the second floor, and so that little area became like the laundry room. Which was nice because it was all of our rooms were upstairs, so it meant we never had to go different floors with baskets of laundry or anything like that. But it was still inconvenient because like we have to go through, like if I had a baseball game at 8 o'clock in the morning, which happened, and I had just washed my pants the night before, like I have to try to not wake my parents up to go get my baseball pants to leave. Like
I get that for sure.
It's just inconvenient. So I definitely appreciate the idea of having its own dedicated space. And the utility sink is a must have.
Yeah.
I would like it to be like a stall, almost like like if you ever worked in like a warehouse and they have the sinks with the drain just in the floor, and it's like,
like the basin drains.
just something like that, just for us to like, especially if we like take our dogs outside and they get muddy, like just to wash them off in there.
We wish we had that in our laundry room. We've talked about it a couple times, but the logistics of having a plumber come out to run the water lines for that is just not worth it for us. It would be so nice to have that sink in there too.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had. I wanted to make it, a shorter topic just to kind of wrap us up.
Absolutely.
But Jess and I are starting to get more serious about purchasing sometime in the near future here. So it's always nice to talk about some of the fun things that people like in houses, maybe to open my eyes a little bit about some things.
The funny thing is you find yourself becoming much more of an adult when you're with your needs when it comes to a house. Like you start thinking about what is actually practical, like a fucking laundry room and a garage and things. Like they might not be the sexiest things to have in a house, but things that you really want in your house.
I know. I'm like, I want a coat closet. Like I've never cared about having a coat closet, but I'm like, shit, I need some
shit.
It's an exciting and nerve-wracking time in my life. Those who listened to the podcast last week, I was talking about how I interviewed for a job and I was offered that job. So given that,
whoop whoop, congratulations.
Thanks, Kyle. Given that I do have a new job, we are, starting to get a little bit more serious about our future, and it's just great to kind of talk and think about, what you may miss, and so, it's important to recognize that you're adulting a little bit more than you were a year ago, and it takes a lot to think about, and it's scary, but it's exciting.
Exciting times.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Two Average Husbands. Excited to see you guys all again here on the podcast. Feel free to, again, join us on the Discord channel. Follow us or find that in the link tree, as well as following us on all of the social media accounts, to include at JakePerry34 for his personal account and at Kyle and her son, as you see on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, for my personal account, with the Two Average Husbands account, both being the number 2 AVG Husbands on social media. And then you can find us on Facebook as well. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you find us everywhere now. We're spreading like a disease. So find us and follow us and join us. Come hang out with us on Sunday as well to watch the football games. Jake, you can close us out from there. Thanks for coming again, fellas and ladies. See you later.
Kyle, as always, thank you for being a part of this podcast and hopping on here with me every single week. Like Kyle said, make sure you follow us on all of our social medias. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Subscribe to us on iTunes. I believe that's the proper term for it. I don't know. I'll be the first to admit that I don't actually use iTunes Podcast, but a lot of people do. So thank you guys always for tuning in. Any of the support that we do get, make sure you go to my Twitter and retweet the tweet from Michelob Ultra so that we get some free stuff. And we will see you all next week.
Peace.